Our presence is so inspiring, Yulwei, that Crincy was at loss for words. Truly inspirational are we on the Rift, Yulwei. Now, we're heading into game, Team Flash against Luxury. This is a very important game for both teams. They have to win this game because you're looking at a final potential spot for playoffs. You're trying to avoid relegation. And I really love what Team Flash have done going with this Lucian Nami. For people who weren't tuning into the VCS last week, this is what Team Flash drafted in the bottom lane to take down Artemis and Ron OP in the bottom lane to get Team Flash that win against Cerberus.
They have finally found an identity as a team. It has taken them 4 or 5 months already. Like, this was their struggle in winter split. Remember, they had one of the worst winter splits of all time. I think ranking second to last historically in their win-to-loss ratio. So, barely avoided the worst split of all time, and they looked lost. Now they've finally found something, a recipe. It's tank in top lane, it's whatever in mid-jungle, a little bit of agency most of the time, and then Slayer, Lucian, Artie, Nami, and these two have been amazing together. We have an early clash of the junglers. Oh, good fight. And now Killer Queen is under a lot of pressure. He can't win this.
Killer Queen on this Rek'Sai. He spots out Dante, but Dante with the smite is able to pick up the blue buff, the early game aggression from this Graves. And speaking of aggression, we've seen so much aggression from Killer Queen, not just in the winter split, or winter last split, but also this split. And this split, it hasn't felt like it's worked very well. And now he's on this Rek'Sai, which is a champion that is all about aggression, I feel.
Yeah, this is something I wanted to bring up as well. Looking at the Rek'Sai, I'm very scared for Luxury, actually, not for Flash. I'm scared for Luxury, because Killer Queen is a weird player. We were so hyped in Winter Split. He was amazing, and we were rightfully hyped. I still maintain that. He was even really good last spring. He was a really strong player coming into the league, sharing time with Sorn and then really just ousting Sorn. Sorn is nowhere to be seen in the VCS now. He is the main jungler of Luxury, but he has overdone it quite a bit this split with aggressive invades, especially on top side, and now this is a full early game focused jungler. Rek'Sai does nothing later on in the game. It's a more extreme version and aggressive version of Volibear, I'd say. It's all about the early game, and usually you don't blind pick Rek'Sai. You want to pick her into Lee Sin, for example, into some matchups where she can really excel and focus the other jungler down. We already saw her clash against Dante in one of the early interactions there, and she didn't really look too comfortable there. So I'm not entirely sure where this Rek'Sai has come from. It's a different style, a different champion, so maybe it's just a reset, maybe just a mental thing. He needs a new champion on the Rift because he's into too much on other champions, but I'm really apprehensive looking at this one.
When I saw it getting locked in picks and bans, I was laughing because before the game we had done our prep, and one of our talking points was about Killer Queen, the aggression that he showed, and the fact that it hasn't been working for Luxury, and how do Luxury deal with this? Do they continue to go for this aggressive style with Killer Queen? Oh, Arte is just a poor fish trying to get back into lane. Zenith's blade locked down. There is a flash available.
Wait a sec.
Slater. Arte stays alive, but now Slater in a 1v2, incredibly low. And I think it is the Luxury bottom lane that comes out of this trade on top.
But how did he survive? He's a level 3 Nami. Well, that is some magic coming out from Artie. He somehow survived this one. Now, he blew both of his summoners and also forced Slater to overextend to cover for him. Now, no cleanse for Slater, so there's quite a lot of playmaking potential on the side of Luxury. Now, double Flash still available for their bot lane. Flash for Killer Queen up as well. So, I really expect and hope that Luxury is going to invest some time here to really make this count. But Dante already here to cover. This is dangerous. You can see Killer Queen approaching on the map. If Dante overextends in this dive, this could really backfire horribly for Flash.
Absolutely, and when CBL has Flash available, you can just Flash Shield of Daybreak, and all of a sudden the play gets turned around. I think the main reason, actually, Artie survived that is because Artie has gone with Relic Shield start over Spell Thief's Edge, and I think that is literally the difference between life or death in that situation.
I think I also saw some green things around his character, so he might have gone with the more defensive rune setup, which will really hurt him in terms of mana management, because already not going Spell Thieves means your mana regeneration is much worse in lane, and then if you also opt into Bone Plating to survive all ins, you don't have any access to any of the mana sustain options in the runes, so I'm intrigued by what Artie's going to do and how he's going to manage his laning phase. And there's a little bit of a mystery around this bot lane, because no one really plays Lucian Army right now across the globe, I'd say. I don't really see it anywhere, but Flash is actually bringing it out and playing it to a lot of success, not only because Slater's a very good Lucian player, it also gives them a stable laning phase, but this is not quite as dominant a Lucian Army. Oh, we have a little bit of a clash in the jungle.
Killer Queen wants revenge as the two junglers are traded out. Now the bottom lane is coming up. Killer Queen forced to flash over the wall. Dante could look to chase, but instead Team Flash will turn their attention towards Fit and CBL. And it's actually the Scuttle Crab getting picked up by Killer Queen. So Killer Queen flashing to be able to secure some extra priority on the bottom side of the map.
I hate that. I think Killer Queen is not playing Rek'Sai. He's playing Graves in his mind, because he just used this flash to secure, or used the flash after overextending for the crab, but he's supposed to make stuff happen in the early game. You got the flash of both bot lane, or at least one of the bot lanes I should say, and you got exhaust and cleanse, so just gank the Nami. It's such an easy setup. You have Leona to engage on the Nami, and you can follow up with an unburrow flash, or the other way around, and the Nami has nowhere to go. She just insta-dies. There's no heal in the lane either, so that's almost 100% a kill, and you blow your flash so lackadaisically, just getting one crap for it. I really do not like that. I think Killer Queen is misread the situation on the map, and yeah, his lanes are doing fine, but is that good enough for Rek'Sai?
Maybe not. Well, Killer Queen level 6. We talk about all of that aggression that Killer Queen has available. It's a long game, it's a long series. We've got plenty of time to see that aggression. Sure, we might have wanted to have seen it a bit earlier, but currently Killer Queen out farming Dante on the Graves, a 10 CS advantage. If you were the luxury coach, where do you want Killer Queen to be looking? I was going to say, if you're the luxury coach, or if you were my analyst to give points, but of course you are my analyst, what would you like to see Killer Queen be doing? Where do you want to see him ganking? Who do you want to see him getting a lead for?
First of all, I want to say, please remove all the toasters from the luxury house, because, my god, I'd join the Drogtha friend club if I were the luxury coach. Because,
wow.
I'm not sure how to coach this team. They're the most coin flippy team I've ever seen in all my days of watching League of Legends. It's so insane. But to go back to the point, giving Killer Queen agency in itself, I think is a good move, because he's a very strong player. He has very good mechanics. He can read the map. He can make stuff happen. So giving him an X-Factor kind of champion is a good move in itself. I do not like the ultra focus on the early game too much. I feel like the Rek'Sai is very specific in what it wants to do. I would have liked to see a little bit more even scaling with some early agency, but then also late game carry potential. Make use of his mechanics. Speaking of making use of the mechanics, we have Lucian Army in action.
And the culling is dropped down, the focus onto their force flash under the tower, collateral damage doesn't get the kill! Out comes the Aphelios ultimate, and it's going to be a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane, but now Blazers and Killer Queen, they drop, they're looking towards Dante, the exhaust drop down onto Killer Queen, he's got to go invisible, and he drops down, he picks up the kill, but it is a 2-for-2 overall, both junglers fall, and I guess at the end of it, you could say it's a somewhat even trade.
A little bit of a doozy. I think Flash come out a little bit ahead. They got the extra gold from the first blood. They also shut down Killer Queen's early or first ultimate, which should not end in a 1-for-1, because that's so much burst damage. So that's already decent as an outcome. But overall, a little bit of an overextension from Slater. They're getting very excited. A little bit of the Slater Kaiser tendencies. He flashed under tower into Glacial Leona. Interesting move, but I guess he gets away with it because he gets the kill in the end. If he doesn't flash here, I think Flash just completely dominated the fight. There's no way Luxury wins if Slater doesn't overextend under the tower. We can also see how well Nami can play against something like a single target burst champion like Rek'Sai. She just completely shut her down. and made sure she had to trade 1-for-1. So in the end, I'd say overall a win for Flash, even though the scoreboard right now looks like Luxury's in an advantage gold-wise.
And especially in the early stages of the game, if you've got a kill on your Lucian, a kill onto the Aphelios, you'd probably rather have it on that Lucian because it can do a little bit more with the gold in these earlier stages of the game. But now Luxury getting a wave to crash down into the bot lane outer tower. They could have considered a dive, but I think they make the smart decision, the sensible decision, and decide against it.
Definitely. I'm getting more and more excited to see this Lucian army play out. It's one of my favorite lanes to watch because it's so volatile. There's so much agency, but it can also fall behind. It's very feast or famine. It doesn't actually get outscaled that much. Yesterday I listened to a co-stream where Odoamno was a guest, and they were talking about Lucian army a little bit, and actually saying Lucian army feels super strong in the mid and later stages of the game. This can also happen because they have a lot of burst, and this should be an easy double kill for Slater. This game starting off well for Flash.
It should be Solar Flare dropped down and CBL thinking that maybe he could get away, but Team Flash saying absolutely not. And all of a sudden, take a look at that Lucian 3-1. In fact, actually, Vit died as well. I thought they had just caught CBL, but that was a full-out 2-for-2 or 2v2. And Slater picking up both kills. And now Team Flash looking to the top side. They get 2 kills in the bottom lane. They want a kill in the top lane. Charm makes it an easy pickup. And it's Airless who will secure the gold.
Can you believe your eyes, Milky? Can you believe that this is the team that went 1-13 in the winter split? This looks so much better. They're revitalized and, well, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what Vid was doing, stepping up this far against Lucian Nami that can always chase you down. One of the greatest changes ever made to Nami, as a long-time Nami player, was the E applying on spells instead of just auto attacks, just a year ago or something. Makes so many of the combinations so much more potent, because now Lucian can long-range ult and use slow with Nami E. Wasn't possible a few years ago, but now it is, and you just can't step up against this combination. Now look at Lucian, already sitting on the Sheen, has even more mobility and execute damage under his belt with the Gale Force, so I don't even think you can enter lane, this Luxury spot lane right now. You need to stay under tower and pray for the best.
And you start to wonder what went wrong for Luxury. When did it go wrong? Because Luxury, they were able to get that series win over Saigon Buffalo a week ago. And then all of a sudden, 2 days ago, they then lost to SBTC 2-0. So we know that Luxury have the potential to play well, but it's just the lack of consistency almost.
They are the definition of the coin flip team. So we have another instance of Lucian Army looking quite strong. There should be an easy kill on Vit with Dante's ultimate and combo. Yep, there we go.
Wow. Clockworks made a great point in the chat, which is Killer Queen on a ganking jungler, out-farming Dante on a farming jungler, but it's Dante on the farming jungler who is out-ganking Killer Queen, who's on the ganking jungler.
It's very fair, and actually is now ahead in CS as well. Killer Queen is absolutely doomed, and this game is absolutely doomed as well.
This is looking pretty bad, but I watched LEC yesterday. I know that comebacks exist. Blaze is on the run. Blazes will be able to survive, and instead of being shockingly bad for Luxury right now, it's just very bad.
Really? I'm not entirely sure I agree with you on that point. Killer Queen is 0-2.
Where do we put shockingly bad on the scale, right?
0-2 Rek'Sai at 14 minutes is very high on the shockingly bad scale, I'd say.
Yeah.
This champion can do one thing, and it didn't do this thing. So, don't draft blind Rek'Sai again, please, Luxury. I know you are really trying to find anything that works consistently for your team, because, once again, if I had to coach or analyze for this team, I would lose my mind and all my hair, because I have no idea how you would ever be able to coach this bunch of players that are so unbelievably over-aggressive. Speaking of over-aggression, the favorite...
Well, the aggression is coming in from the side of Luxury.
Oh!
And
Archie.
It is Dante who has fallen, but, as you mentioned, is it over-aggression? Yoshino turns up. Slater picks up a return kill for Team Flash, a 1-for-1. And I think Luxury will be relatively happy with that one, actually.
It's the favorite spot of Killer Queen, the enemy red, the enemy blue buff. He's died so many times this week already at the enemy blue buff, but Yoshino's still here. Luxury, I think you've overstepped your welcome.
All the while, Luxury are trying to get the Rift Herald, and Team Flash were just waiting for it to get low, and then they'll say, thank you very much for the leash. We'll now look towards it. Killer Queen has a smite available. Does he risk his life to secure this? Well, he'll go in. He's got to be able to get it, but the culling just shreds through Coated. And Team Flash say, go on, take the Rift Herald. We'll get a kill for it. We'll continue to extend our goal lead. That being said, we're 15 minutes in. I'm actually relatively surprised that it is only a 3k goal lead for Team Flash, considering the kill difference right now.
So they just secured an objective shutdown. I believe it was like 500 gold across the team, because objective shutdowns came in super early in this game, actually surprisingly early, with only one dragon going Flash's way so far, so there must be a huge disadvantage somewhere, and of course we have a 5-1 Lucian. The problem is, Luxury's team, even only 3k gold behind, is not supposed to be behind. I've hit this point, or actually talked this point to death already, with the Rek'Sai of course coming in, but they also have a LeBlanc and a Jace. And I'm a firm believer that Jace is an amazing late-game champion, but his mid-game, if behind, is not great, especially when the enemy team has Sustain and Nami can also dodge around a Shock Blast and just one-shot him, like they just did there, even though Coated showed some good dodging ability on the initial trade. But yeah, this composition is not supposed to be behind, and they're already pretty far down, so Blazes almost killed himself there, and Flash wants another go.
Oh, that's an aggressive teleport coming through from Yoshino, but Luxury will respect the play. Luxury will back off. Now, I see you chiseling away at that can. It's a can of worms your way. So I'm going to go ahead and rip the can of worms completely open, as I thought for a second Killer Queen was making a play, but he is not. Okay, so let's talk about late game scaling, because as you mentioned, Jace is good in the late game. I actually agree with you on that particular point your way. But the mid game might be a bit questionable for Luxury. If Luxury can get to the later stages of this game and, you know, haven't given away Hextech Soul and all of their... Oh my god, yeah, Bit's just dead. Dante steals that one. Okay, so if Luxury can get to the later stages of this game, do they outscale Team Flash? Is this a win condition for them?
Oh, absolutely not. The composition is ultra doomed in the late game. But let's look at what's happening in the mid game instead, because Slater is kind of strong.
Killer Queen goes for the assassination, but he gets assassinated
Oh,
himself.
nice.
CBL will fall, the Distortion Blazes will get a shutdown. 2 kills for 1, and right now Luxury will take anything that comes their way, as for a second I thought there was a solo bottle in the top.
So one thing I actually want to go back on, because we were setting up the late game scaling point, as Coded was solo pushing the top lane, and there was actually no real reason for Flash to give up the top lane. It was another objective bounty, and I was getting a little bit scared for them, because they have shown this tendency even in their 2020 iteration. When I think back about the 2020 Flash team, they were amazing at team fighting, amazing at playing from behind. They had a really strong jungle, top lane ADC combination in team fights, just outperforming everyone, even Garm. But some of their woes, especially early on the split, as this is just one shot, we don't really have to talk about it, I think, were definitely the overgrouping part, and I think we're seeing tendencies of this again. This is a little bit of a trait of Yoshino's, because he wants to lead the team. He's a shot caller and captain of the team from the top lane, playing tanks. So all of these point towards never wanting to be alone in the top lane, and usually he's a very good team fighter, once again, showing that aspect, a very good front line, a very good peeler, but he tends to overgroup it a little bit, and I think that teleport he pointed out on cast as well was a little bit overzealous and gave extra gold to Coated and to the whole of Luxury. Didn't really change much about the game, because Flash was immediately able to get more kills, but they need to be a little bit careful with this playstyle, not to overgroup in the mid game and give up too many advantages.
Now, you bring up that top lane. I want to talk about Coated, because actually, I'm not even sure if I'm going to get a chance. Fit might be looking for a play. In goes Yoshino, and Blazes doesn't have a chance to press any buttons on his keyboard. How comes the Ophelia Assault onto 3 members, but Luxury can't make any plays off it. Ellis going in, lands the charm. Killer Queen trying to go in. Can they get the knockup? They can, and it is one kill going the way of Luxury. Killer Queen tries to drop down the Void Rush, and does so, but doesn't find any kills off the back end of it. And in the end, it is Team Flash getting 3 kills for 1 as this game just snowballs further and further out of control.
It would be easy to say that TP sucked. That punish was actually great from Yoshino, just waiting for the TP and insta-ult. You have to consider this is a LeBlanc he's ulting. She has Flash, she has double Distortion ready, so he timed the ultimate frame perfectly to punish this TP. Look at that! That is so well done from Yoshino. And Yoshino has played 5 games of Malphite in his career. He has not won a single one, which is super surprising considering his overall win rate is very high. He has played on very good teams, and his tank win rate is even better because, yeah, he has played on teams where tanks excel in the top lane. 5 games, 0 wins on Malphite. I think he's finally breaking that streak. His individual performance has been great in this game, and his team is smurfing.
Yulway, I'm going to be honest with you, I hate you, because that's my kind of stat. You know, not having won a game or on a champion, that's my kind of stat. You're stealing my vibes here. Oh, can't believe you just done this to me.
Do you have
you got any more of those? That you want to get any more out? Backstab me some more. I'm just disappointed that I didn't see that one, because usually I'm like, oh, this champion's being picked up. I'm quickly going on to gameoflegends.gd, trying to see what their stats are on that particular.
He hasn't played it this year, so it was actually a little bit of a dig to see his overall stats. But in his whole career, he hasn't won a game on Malphite. Not just this year. It would be his first career win on Malphite, which is just ridiculous to think about, because Yoshino is such a good tank player, such a great team fighter, all things Malphite stands for, really. And I love that we see more creative drafts and more champions in the VCS right now. VCS was always known to be very rigid in drafting, very held back compared to other regions, but we've seen so many adaptations, so many creative changes and priorities as we see a tank slap a Jace.
Yeah, and we're getting to this stage, and going back to the point that I wanted to bring up
him anytime,
oh, Slater just shows up, drops down the damage, and uses the Gale Force to clean up the kill. Now, Slater might be in a bit of trouble because Killer Queen is going in. Does Killer Queen have enough damage? Slater dropping it down the culling. For a second, I thought Slater might have been able to outplay that, but just too much damage from that Rek'Sai.
He had to dodge the W. He had to get away from the W to not fall prey to the whole burst combo. A very nice use of the Prowler's Claw to get close to Slater in an instant. Slater actually had... Flash is not up. Flash is up now, so he wasn't able to go over the wall. Nice move from Killer Queen. This is super risky, though. I don't think they have the damage right now. Look at the items. Vit is only in 1.5 items. Yeah, this is not the best choice. Yoshino's ult is available.
Look at Killer Queen. Killer Queen trying to come up from the side. It's a 3-man solo flare that comes through. And they're looking to go on to Ellis. But Ellis able to Spirit Rush away. Spirit rushes right back in and gets the kill onto Killer Queen. Blazes will be able to find the blast gun and get out to safety. But CBL has no such luxury available to him. And Team Flash will pick up 3 kills. You can't fault luxury for that. They had to try to make some play happen. But it's unsuccessful. And Team Flash continue their firm grasp of this game.
Yeah, nice professional FF, as we like to call it here. This was had a very, very low chance of succeeding, and it didn't. Flash, even without Slater, he's the pinnacle of their composition. He's the centerpiece, the cornerstone, but he's not even needed. You can just put the rock there, the actual stone. And Yoshino one-shot Vit, even though Vit had a nice reaction on the Flash. He was able to dodge the Yoshino ultimate. Shout out to Vit, who has had a rough start to the series. But in the end... Oh, come on, Slater. You can time that back. Oh, come on. You can combo that dragon down. That was disappointing. Look,
they've got to give Coated something. They've got to give him, the hope that he's doing something for luxury. And then they just TP him behind him. They collapse on him. Actually, Coated! That's a lot of damage! Ellis, okay, he's almost ready to get and luxury get another. Oh, it's the minute of int. It's a minute of int. Team Flash are allowed 1 minute where they make these plays.
Oh, Flash, what are you doing? Well, they're getting overexcited, I think. But yeah, this is actually a Nami engage ult that works, which is not great, because that means we are going to see more of that. We should never. I hate engage Nami. I know how much you hate that. But it was actually a decent spot to do, because there was nowhere to go for them. They wanted to fight, and Flash was completely aware of the fact that they wanted to fight. They were able to group up, and then if you follow the Nami ult with an actual engage ult on Malphite, it's slightly better, so I don't hate it too much. Actually, I've been very impressed with Artie's Nami performance. He had this one blunder where he just ran into the bush and should have died, but was actually able to get away with it. So far, a really strong Enchanted performance. We don't really see much good Nami play in this league. We had this one legendary game from Ronopi, I think in the players even, but other than that, it has been Team Flash's prerogative to pick this champion and try the Lucian army over and over again.
I want to start looking towards game 2 about what's going wrong for Luxury, and hopefully third time's the charm for me to make my point about Coated. He gets a lot of resource, well, he gets the counter pick sometimes, or he gets these aggressive champions in the top lane that are designed to generate an advantage. But I haven't been seeing Killer Queen playing around Coated much. We saw it this game. He got the CS lead over Yoshino because it's a Jace against a Malphite matchup, but Luxury just didn't play around him at all.
Yeah, Luxury, I really think Killer Queen needs to rethink his pathing, especially on these kind of junglers. I said it in the early game, he played like the Graves. he was farming and trying to look for the enemy jungler instead of trying to gank. It was a super easy opportunity to actually go for bot lane. I agree with you, you can play around the Jace. We usually don't see people put that much effort into Jace lanes anymore. He's not that super hard lane punishing counter pick kind of champion anymore. He's just there and scales well and just wins all his matchups. So I don't think you have to invest into him. It would have been a possibility. Unfortunately, double AD is a little bit rough into Malphite, especially once he hits level 6. But still, hopefully something you can play around. I think Coated has had a decent game this game. And maybe you put him on a hard carry and try to punish Yoshino's early game deficiencies. He's not the greatest laner. If you get him maybe a gank, a kill or two, Coated there is, maybe he can actually run away with the game. So yeah, I definitely want to see more emphasis on the top side.
Well, a little birdie from Saigon Buffalo tells me that a good carry champion in the top lane is Vayne, so I'm all down for it, Coated. If you got something spicy like that, please bring it out.
Coated Vayne? Oh, I'm not sure about how I feel about Coated Vayne. That would be an 0-10 performance.
If your choice was Coated Vayne or Coated Gnar/Renekton, which would you go for?
I mean, Coated played Lucian last week, actually, into Jace. He won the game. Yeah, he is basically the broken blade of this league. He's very volatile. He likes to go for absolutely everything. So he is actually the player I would expect the Gnar and Renekton the least from. Also, Jax one trick, so might play a little bit of Jax later on if you can.
Oh, the culling just eats away at Coated. Southbar and Blazes tries to make the play, but Golden goes Slater. Dante will claim Blazes' life. And Luxury are on the run. The charm will land on top of CBL. And it is a double kill for Dante as Team Flash. They're taking their time. They're not overextending. They're just making sure that they're taking all the right steps and, not doing what they did before, which was airless dying into Coated's Jace.
And I think it's time for me to talk about the R5, because I don't get to talk about draft today as I'm on the casting desk, but maybe something to think about for the next draft. We had an R5 Leona, it's 07, as we have probably the final fight of the game, as Yoshino completely wished the ultimate.
He does. Maybe a turnaround for Luxury. No, I don't think it's happening. Out comes the tidal wave. Team Flash get another kill. They're going to back away. One Nexus Tower stands for Luxury. That is all. The next play of this game might very well be the last. We've got a Drake coming up soon, a Baron Nashor as well, and Luxury just have to wait for their upcoming demise.
It's a sad game to play for all the squishies, as we can see. Everything can kill you, everything can one-shot you, and everyone is squishy here because this Leona is a Glacial Leona too, so look at the Dante damage. Quiet, but very good game from Dante. I really liked his bot lane dive. Opportune time, making use of the bot lane and really syncing up with Artie and Slater, who ran the show, but Dante was there to put the finishing touches on it. And look at this. He's so dominant.
God, it's just disgusting. Team Flash, 28 kills to 8. A 30-minute absolute goober stomp from Flash as they'll take game 1 over Luxury.